Wow, things are really heating up. I can't tell you the amount of emails and WhatsApps I've been getting over the last few days. This issue of God, does God need our mitzvahs? Does God need us? How much do we really affect God? Is really snowballing, and has to do a lot with this week's Torah portion, Bahar B'chukaisai. So we're going to analyze the introductory remarks of a class given this past week. So let's take a look. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you all have a great Shabbos.
Does God benefit from your mitzvahs? If he doesn't, then what's the point? In fact, if he doesn't, then why does it say in this week's parashat Behar and Bechukotai that you have to do Shabbat leHashem, which literally translates to a Shabbat, rest for God. So wait, you need to rest for God? You need to let the land rest for God, as if God benefits from your rest?
So powerful. Such a great question, because it seems to clearly indicate that yes, Shabbat LaHashem, it's for God. So everything that God tells us, whose benefit is it for? Is it for God's, or is it for us, or is it for both?
This is a question that we have to answer. With
That's why I've been hacking away at this. As many of you know, we have to answer this question, because if you don't realize how significant what you're doing is, especially to God, who's the one who's asking you to do it, and all the halachas, all the details that go into it, then you can simply ask yourself, what am I doing here?
the right answer, because everything is on the line. As we see, Parashat Bechukotai gives us an extraordinary amount of scary threats if we get this wrong.
Everything is on the line. Exactly. That's why this question, this topic is so significant. Not because if we get it wrong, we're going to get punished severely. I mean, that's a little self-centered. If the only reason you don't want to get it wrong is the effect that it has on you and you don't want to be punished, but rather flip it, the effect that would have on God. For example, if I ask my kid to do something and the kid doesn't want to do it, and then I say, if you don't do it, you're going to get it, and I start threatening like a bully, is the kid responding to me? Is there a relationship? No, the kid just thinking about it. Oh, well, I don't want to suffer some consequences, some consequence. So there's no real relationship. The kid is sort of just going further and further into himself, into his ego-centered self. So what is it when the Torah says all these punishments and all these threats? And it doesn't make sense at all if God is threatening and willing to punish in these ways that make your body shake, if it's not even significant and necessary to God.
If we get the Torah wrong, if we follow the wrong path, the threats that are in there, the punishments that are in there literally will make your body shake. So we have to get it right, because many people are getting it wrong. And even though we've addressed it multiple times in the past, we always like to find more friends, more holy sages that will give us the clarification of what does it mean to do a mitzvah for God. Once and for all, we're not only going to see
what does it mean to do a mitzvah for God. So take ourselves out of the picture and the threats and the scary and the hell and the reward and everything that goes into what's going to happen to us. But rather, what does it mean to do a mitzvah for God? Shabbat LaHashem. What does that even mean? At face value, it means that what we're doing is significant. God clearly says, keep my Shabbos, rest with me. I rested on the seventh day. Please rest with me. So imagine you're trying to get a teenager not to text on his phone on Shabbos, and you say, you're not allowed to use phones on Shabbos. And the kid says, I don't really care. So you could either say, if you text, you know what's going to happen to you. You're going to get punished, and God knows what's going to happen to you. And the kid's like, yeah, okay. Obviously, you don't want to highlight what's going to happen to him and threaten him and scare him. And I don't even know if that's going to work. And even if it does work, it's not really the fundamental aspect of the way a relationship should work. The child, the teenager, should respond, you're right, there's somebody else on the other side of the wall here. There's somebody else who I matter to. And if they're resting and they want to rest with me and they want to spend time with me and I'm ignoring them, so any healthy, normal child would start realizing it's just not about me. My father, my mother, my God is waiting for me and I'm just ignoring them.
What the answer is. But we'll see that the answer has clear sources that are indisputable, regardless of which avenue you look at. This precedes a whole list of questions from a live crowd, from different people around the world, to talk about different things that interest them. Whether it's the heresies of the black Hebrew Israelites, or Christianity, or Islam, or it's interesting questions about what do you do when a bunch of yeshiva bachurim make fun of you for learning Art Scroll Gemara? Is there any value in what they're saying? Should I listen to them? Or are they considered heretics? Is it a sin? Is it a mitzvah? This and much more, including even teaching young children about sachar ve'onesh, reward and punishment. How do you do it? He's only 5, 6 years old. A lot of interesting things are discussed tonight. Enjoy it, share it, support it when you can, and sometimes push yourself till you can. And most importantly, remember, the only reason why we're here is so we could be holy.
Okay, so the only reason why we're here is to be holy. So just to finish up with this, what does it mean to be holy? You see someone who's holy. What's the definition of the word holy? So holy, I think if you want to define it in a clear, accurate, and direct way, means you see someone who it's not about them, right? Like when you see a tzaddik, a righteous person, it's almost like they're transparent. You're seeing past them or through them right to God or right to what they represent. So they almost get out of the way, right? That's why holy people are hard to find, because most of us are not that way and self-centered, and we block and we distort because, we're your average Joe. But holy people, and we could each be holy in our own separate ways minimally throughout the day, but holy people represent the higher purpose, God, and they sort of remove themselves from the picture. So holy is translated as selflessness. Unholy means self-centered. That's the opposite of holy. Like it talks about in Tanya as somebody who is arrogant and has an ego. God and him cannot get along or dwell together because he's taking up too much space. It's too much about him. So holy means it's not about me. So therefore, when we're trying to teach someone about Judaism and Torah and the mitzvahs and halachas, all these things are trying to tell you about, do you know what this means to God? And we want to do it carefully in just the right way, the way that God likes it. And that's hard, like any relationship. In a marriage and raising children, the way to attain oneness and togetherness is through holiness, through lack of self-centeredness. So if you threaten somebody and say with punishments and you're going to get it and you're going to go, the person just starts naturally thinking more and more about themselves. Like, oh my, I don't want to get punished and I want a reward. So it's throwing the whole relationship off because you're making the person think more about themselves instead of less about themselves. Now, to go into, there are consequences and what does punishment mean? Obviously, that has to be discussed, but it's not the motivation. The motivation in any relationship means I'm here for you. Like I tell my class where I teach is, imagine a mother comes home and tells her daughter, if you clean your room for 30 days, I'll buy you a brand new iPad. And the kid's like, a brand new iPad? Sure. So the kid does it for 30 days and the mother buys an iPad. Well, did the child really respond to the mother, or they're just thinking about, I want a brand new iPad and Nebach, I have to put up with what my mother wants. So what should the teenager say? Because I do teach in a high school with teenagers. Ideally, the teenage daughter or son should say, and in these exact words, Mom, iPad, schmipad. If you need it, I can do it because you're mine and I'm yours. We have each other. Zekeli, this is my God. It's not about the reward and it's not about the punishment. Gehenim, threats, shmets. God, I'm here for you. So when you read the parsha this week, like it says right at the beginning of Bechukaisai, it says, God says, in Bechukaisai telech, if you go in my ways, halavai, it's explained. God's pleading. God's saying, please go in my ways so we can be together. But if you're just thinking about yourself and your punishment, you're going in your own way, and we won't have that oneness. We won't have that togetherness. And then when ultimately this all happens, V'haya Hashem lemelech al kol haaretz b'yoyim hahu yeh Hashem echad. God will be one with us. And that's what he's after. The oneness, togetherness with us. Have a great Shabbos. And when you're keeping Shabbos, this Shabbos, try to realize how much satisfaction God is getting from having you rest with him. How infinitely necessary you are to him, to have you rest with him. This is not rocket science. I mean, I don't know how anyone could argue with this. How please, if you're out there, email Rabbi Yoni Katz. If you're of the opinion that what we do is not necessary and it's only about our punishment and that's what we should focus on and God is above all this, he gains no benefit from that, I would love to hear from you. I would love for anybody out there to show me how the whole Torah is not necessary and it's insignificant and it doesn't change God and he's complete in and of himself. The most used term, God's sufficient. He's in and of himself. And look, it says in the Rambam that God has no needs. Yeah. Obviously, Chassidus and Kabbalah, there's 4 levels of understanding. There's Pshat, there's Remesh, there's Drush, there's Soid, there's layers of understanding, there's nuance. So if you're out there, please, RabbiYoniKatz@gmail.com. I'd love to see how any rabbi or learned person can convince me that what we're doing is not significant to God. I'm out. Bye.